The South African Music Rights Organization has also paid tribute to Bosman. Chairperson Nicholas Maweni joins us now. Good to have you, sir, and thank you very much for your time. Big loss for the music industry, big loss for you as an association. Maybe your opening words as you pay your tribute before we get into the broader conversation.
Well, thanks very much for having us, SAMRO, here. Maybe at the onset is to really convey our words of condolences to the family of Gloria Noskhumbuzo Bosman, and also to the friends and the supporters, and also to a number of members of SAMRO that were very connected to her at large. And it is a great loss for all of us, and a great loss for the country, and a great loss for the industry.
Newly appointed to the board, I'm sure a lot was still being expected to come from her. Just elaborate for us about her appointment on the board, and what plans were you currently working on as SAMRO alongside her that she would have been a champion to?
For quite some time, we've had a struggle and a big challenge at SAMRO, where we've always been looking for what we call great women to join the board. And of course, one of the criteria was that they need to be a composer. And just we're so fortunate that one of our members, I think in the name of Gabby LaRue, nominated Gloria Bosman to join the SAMRO board. And she received an overwhelming support at the December 2022 last year's AGM. And what was also exciting for us was how excited she was to join the board, how excited we were to have Gloria joining us, and everybody was excited. And we already had, and we teased her with a maiden board meeting, which we had on the 2nd of March. And as you know, she contributed. We even made a remark that it feels as if she's been a board member for quite some time, because she was so knowledgeable about some of the issues that were being discussed, just to show that she's one of those members who will come fully prepared. She read a board pack and ready to engage. And also what was important for us that we observed from her was she wasn't emotional. Often we come across people get overly emotional about issues at the board, particularly if they've got direct vested interest. She was very calm. She certainly brought this humility, this great compassion that she had with her, and indeed an absolute loss. We're looking forward to more contribution from Gloria's side.
Real captivating as a performer on stage for some who have observed her. A great songwriter indeed. How will you remember her, I mean, in your interactions with the music fraternity?
I think everybody else will most people will remember her as, whether we call her a contemporary, jazz or gospel singer, or I will remember her on my side, all of that, plus the fact that she responded to the Tumamina. It's not very easy to join and to really come and join the SAMRO board. There's a lot at stake. There's a lot that is expected out of the individual. And she just took this upon herself. I mean, at the young age of 50, you could see there was so much ahead of her, particularly when she made this decision to really serve, the industry in the way that she has decided. But, one of the other things that many people maybe sometimes forget about Gloria was over and above the fact that she was classically trained. I mean, she was trained in opera, I think, at Technikon Pretoria. She's had, I think if you look into her repertoire, she's had at least 2 Afrikaans songs, which is quite interesting. So she crossed in different racial groups. She appeals to everybody. Even if you go to her page, you'll find she writes things in isiXhosa in Tswana and to write in Zulu or even in Afrikaans. She was that multicultural individual. Of course, we will always remember one of my favorite songs that she used to sing was Amakwati. Of course, I guess paying tribute to a clan, to a nation. Of course, another one that I was reminded by one of the fellow board member, Dr. Sipho Sithole, about a wonderful song which was Usombawo. And I guess some of the people, particularly those who are involved in politics, will remember a very interesting song that Gloria did, which was remembering Utami Nyele, who was one of the anti-apartheid activists. That's how she was, and I'll certainly remember her in those ways.
Yeah, and who can forget her rendition of Revelation? What a wonderful, wonderful rendition as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed.
But, I asked somebody, Gloria's career she was discovered in church. So she was first discovered in church. I guess it's a typical South African story. And then she got this a scholarship to go and study at Technikon Pretoria. And then the rest, I guess, becomes the history. She's performed in the olden days of the Felicia Mabuza Sattel and everywhere. And I guess, hence I'm saying it's a great loss for us. The other thing which I always remember her, she had such gravitas. And difficult again to find, particularly a female woman composer who can bring all of that without any scandal. And I do want to thank particularly the media, because when she joined the SAMRO board, there was so much positive stuff that was written, that was said about her, and it made her glow. We were always excited. We even mentioned this to her, that, man, girl, since you've joined the board, we're seeing SAMRO in a positive light. Yeah. And that's how excited we were. Yeah. I do feel to some extent that I guess life has these ways of where we look at them and we think we've been robbed an opportunity. For some, they might think she has joined some of the other great SAMRO members, the likes of Sibongile Khumalo, the likes of Steve Gekana, the likes of Professor Mzilikazi Khumalo, the likes of Babu Joseph Shabalala, and many, many other people in the industry who have fallen. But we certainly will miss her.
Brilliant catalogue and, as you put it, willingness to make a contribution, particularly in this space of music rights, maybe as a way of extending her legacy and keeping it alive. Let's use this opportunity. I mean, from your side, you're saying you have been battling to get female representation, particularly on the board. How would you encourage other artists who are sitting and watching us today who would want to participate in the space of music rights?
So the first one would be really they need to find a way of getting involved. There's a creative side in this industry. Let's use music to start with as composing. To compose, that's a creative side of things. But then there is the business of it. And that's where we find we often, people are very thin on the ground. It's the music side of things. How can we assist everybody out there to commercialize their craft? Because this is a livelihood. It's more than just a hobby. It's a livelihood. People rely on this. If they don't get their royalties, children are not going to be fed. Children will not be able to be sent to school. That's how important this is. And of course, the other thing that one wants to share here is that the barriers to entry in the music industry are none. You just wake up and you are talented and you just get into a stage and then you perform. And that's the other good thing. One important thing that Gloria was very, very, very fond of and certainly I believe this will be one of her legacies as well, was she wanted many people, particularly those in the creative industry, to be authentic. Do not bring a fake sound. I think she often used to talk about that the world is ready for a South African sound. We've seen who really gets what we now deem to be the highest accolade, but I guess we use America as a benchmark. Those who get the Grammy Awards, they often have something interesting. There is a South African sound. There's a distinct sort of a tone and a sound there. So we're asking people, just remember who you are. Be very authentic. The world is ready and hungry for such.
Nicholas Mawene, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on tonight. Chairperson of SAMRO, they're paying tribute to Gloria Bosman.